And it goes, Ryan opens the action on the cutoff with the 8-6 of hearts to 27,000. I like his open. He's opening kind of big, but everyone's still fairly deep, so I'm down with that. I call the button with 7s, holding the 7 of hearts, 7 of spades. Simon calls with 9-8 of clubs in the small blind. I like his call here. Maybe you... no, I wouldn't do any squeezing with this hand at this stack depth. I think if I'm going to squeeze here as Simon on 40 blinds, I want some blockers to my opponents having shoving hands, so maybe I would squeeze some percent with, you know, king, queen, and ace, jack, ace 10, those type of hands, but not the 9-8 suited, so I like that he just called. And Ola makes what I think many people would think of as a tight fold in the big blind with king 9 offsuit. I think that is probably the best hand, best offsuit hand that Ola folds here. He would call king 10, but I like his fold with the king 9. I don't think it does that well multi-way with deep stacks, and I think it's the kind of leak that a lot of people have. They're like, ooh, I'm getting a good price, and I'm in the big blind, and I've got a somewhat playable hand, like we'll just come along here, and I think that was a good fold from him. So on the flop we get the 6 of spades, 5 of clubs, jack of hearts. And after Simon checks, Ryan bets 30,000, so a rather small bet, of course. And with, you know, 2 overcards to the 6 with my 7s, I make the call. And I'm not that worried about Ryan having the best hand here yet. And if he does, I have some backdoor draws, you know, with the straight. And of course the 2 outs to the set. And Simon calls as well. Now here on the flop, I think that Simon should probably raise some percent of the time. He doesn't have outs to overcards. Like if he had, say, you know, king, queen of clubs here, I might be a little more inclined to call because he can't turn the nuts and, you know, he can turn an overpair. Whereas here, if he check raises the flop and he has to give up on what is his gut shot and backdoor flush draw, I don't think it's that much value really lost. Plus, on this texture with the pre-flop action, I think he can very plausibly represent the sets, 6s and 5s. Of course, he doesn't have jacks here. He would 3-bet that pre-flop. But if I'm Simon, I want to have a few check raises here, and I feel like 9-8 suited drawing to, you know, the best gut shot available and having the backdoor draw. And, you know, what's nice about 9-8 suited is on a turn 10 or queen, you're going to pick up additional straight draw outs, and maybe that's just enough that if you get one caller, you're going to go for it and try and rep the set the whole way down. That's a nice option to have. But Simon calls, and again, it's a pretty small bet, so calling is fine, of course. And the turn is a 5 of hearts, and that gives Ryan a flush draw to go with his pair. Simon checks, and Ryan bets big. He bets 150k into 191k. I think in my spot, we of course have to fold. There's another player to act behind me. Ryan is showing a lot of strength. He can have all of the strong jacks. He can have the overpairs. He could, I guess, kind of have a 5. Like with a lot of people, you would discount the 5 a little more. With Ryan, I think he's opening wide and c-betting wide. So I think you have to give him credit for a few more 5s than many other players would have here. And I'm in a position where I have a lot of hands that are going to call him down. I'm going to have a lot of the jacks here myself, or I'm going to have turned backdoor hearts, you know, with, you know, queen 10 of hearts, king 10 of hearts, king queen of hearts, things like that.